Welcome back to the CJC's Training and Technical Assistance series to help subrecipients navigate the new grants management system. This video will take you through the steps to submit a program report in the CJC's new system. A PDF step-by-step guide is also available for download. This video is designed for key program staff and any other individuals who are responsible for contributing to or submitting program reports at your agency. Feel free to pause, rewind, or fast forward to get straight to the information most relevant to you. Here's a quick reminder about due dates. Project periods that end December 31st have a quarterly report due date of January 20th. Quarters that end March 31st have a quarterly report due date of April 20th. Quarters ending June 30th have a quarterly report due date of July 20th. And quarters ending September 30th have a quarterly report due date of October 20th. Once you have at least one active project, your homepage becomes an important hub of information. The new system contains a whole section of action items. Whether you are a program or a fiscal contact, the quickest way to access an upcoming quarterly report is to select the Program and Fiscal Reports button under Action Items. If you want a more complete picture of the reports associated with your award, you can scroll down. This is where you can access all reports in the All Records section of your homepage. Here's where to click to view all reports. This is an example of a newly awarded grant. In this example, it is the subrecipient's only project. You can see the tabs indicating which reports require your attention. In this example, it's 0. How many are scheduled? In this example, it's 9 reports. That's 4 program, 4 fiscal, and an inventory report. And you can also view which reports are currently under review and which reports are completed with processed payments. If your agency typically manages multiple awards, you will notice that you can sort the list by any of the columns to customize your view. Back on the homepage, click on the Action Items section to begin your first program report. The number of reports are tied to your specific role, either program or fiscal. Program roles can also view the fiscal reports and vice versa. In contrast with our previous view, a concise list of reports that you are responsible for completing is displayed here, including the due date. Bear in mind that program roles only complete program reports. In this example, a program report is overdue. Notice that it is in draft status, meaning that additional action items need to be completed. Once you select the program report, instructions appear in the blue box at the top of the page. The instructions provide high-level tips on how to successfully submit a report. You can preview the program report as a PDF to print it out, to make notes, or provide it to a colleague for help filling in the numbers. You can also view the associated fiscal report. In this example, the fiscal report is still in draft status and has yet to be completed. Once it is completed, the status will update and program staff can view the report associated with the quarter that they are reporting program data on. Let's take a look. Clicking on the button to view the associated fiscal report takes you to a read-only version. This is handy for program staff to be aware of recent expenditures, even if you are not the one that submits those fiscal reports. Viewers can see spending related to their grant activities, which is especially helpful when there are turnovers in personnel or if you have limited spending in your budget and are wondering if costs have been charged to the grant. In the current example, the highlighted areas show where you can look for spending updates after the report is completed. Back to the summary page of your program report, you can scroll down to the section of the page to begin reporting. Notice there are 5 different tabs that require your attention. We will get to the content on this page in just a minute, but first I want to highlight the navigation buttons. Be sure to save your report draft and validate information periodically before officially submitting your completed report. The PMT section is a data collection tool where CJC and our federal partners set questions and you set your program targets. The narrative section is where you'll find the goals and objectives set by your agency. The other section asks your agency whether you need to update your lobbying disclosure. And the contacts section allows you to update the CJC on any changes in agency contacts. The Program Report tab contains big picture information. You should see accurate details regarding the funding type and your project title, in addition to the current reporting period. If your project is ending early, you can mark the report as final using this button. Before moving on to the data collection sections, you'll need to answer 2 questions about your overall progress. If the answer to either of these questions is no, the system requires additional information. If you hit no for the first question, the system automatically assumes that the project is not on track. The system requires an explanation if no progress has been made. This is your opportunity to contextualize project delays at the bottom of the screen. It could be as simple as there were bureaucratic delays in accepting the award and being able to code spending to the project in your agency's accounting system, which ultimately delayed program progress. Or your agency may have experienced unexpected personnel turnover in a position that was providing sole services for the project that fully delayed the implementation of activities until you could fill that role. Whatever the reason, your response to this question should not come as a surprise to your project monitor. So if you're unsure of how to answer this question, please reach out and we will be happy to help. Lastly, if your project did not make any progress, the system assumes that you do not have any data to report, and it grays out the PMT and narrative sections. In other words, if you are reporting that no progress was made, PMT and narrative data collection sections are not required. Once your project is fully active, continue to select Yes to the first question in future reports. This question is designed to capture implementation delays at the beginning of projects. However, if you are reporting that there has been progress and activity during the reporting period, it does not always mean that your program is on schedule to fully spend out and meet the goals and objectives by the project end date. This second field is an opportunity to share significant concerns about your project's timeline of spending and activities. I say significant because we all know that unexpected issues or barriers to spending may arise at any time in service provision. Usually, monitors can assist you in course correcting to ensure that you are able to maintain your progress. If you are already working with your monitor to problem solve an issue, it probably does not need to be mentioned here. Technically, your project is still on track. However, sometimes agencies experience significant issues, and this box is an area to explain what's going on. Examples include personnel turnover or long hiring vacancies that accrue a subgrant balance of 10% of your total budget. Or maybe you're struggling with referral sources, whether they're non-existent or drying up after a partner agency closes or changes its services. Whatever you are running into that is a barrier to spending out the program by your end date or keeping you from achieving your goals and objectives, we are happy to work with you once we know more. The PMT tab contains Performance Measure Targets, or PMTs. Under the PMTs tab, you should recognize these targets as they were defined during your application. Click on the Add/Edit PMT Results button to add your data for the reporting period. At a glance, this page may look overwhelming. However, you are only entering information in the actual amount column for the most recent reporting period. Some grants require supporting documentation for PMTs. Check in with your monitor if you are unsure about a required document. As funding coordinators set up the PMT sections in their respective funding opportunities, they may keep the performance measures area blank and require you to complete and upload a different or separate version of the PMT. Reach out if you have any questions. This is a different example of a submitted PMT report. It shows the performance measures, the target numbers for the entire project period, and the actual amount that the subrecipient is reporting in the most recent quarter. A neat feature of this new system is that once you click Save Draft, the numbers automatically update. And the system even auto-calculates the totals and percentages. This new feature allows you to track, view, and compare progress on a quarterly basis. It is also designed to make federal reporting easier on our coordinators and senior planners, so it's a win-win for everyone. In the narrative section, you can report progress on the project-specific goals and objectives for your grant program. To begin, click the button to add/edit progress toward goals. After clicking the button to update the goals and objectives, a pop-up page appears. Your goal, as defined from your application, will be shown in the left-hand column. As a reminder, goals and objectives, including target numbers, cannot be changed except through a grant modification. Even then, we typically discourage it. Programs are not penalized for aiming higher or lower than the actual number of people served. In the open text box, provide a succinct summary of the progress made toward your goal. For example, if your program is designed to serve crime victims, you might report that 37 victims were served by the grant-funded case manager. Then, click Save. Your responses will now appear on the page. To provide updates on your objectives, click Add/Edit Progress against Project Objectives and follow the same process as you did entering goal updates. Still under the narrative section of the report, you can scroll down to view additional required questions. The first is an opportunity to let CJC know about any changes in grant-funded personnel. This includes any individual listed by name in the personnel section of your subgrant. You can also highlight any challenges or successes that were experienced during the quarter. This is a great area to provide a soundbite that we can pass on to our federal funders who are increasingly requesting information about program activities that they can report back to our federal lawmakers. Then you can opt in to request additional technical assistance from the CJC and upload any supporting documentation to back up the data you reported. The last step on this page is to validate and save your draft. Be aware that if you select Yes to either question with radio buttons, additional boxes appear. When you select Yes regarding personnel changes, you get an opportunity to elaborate on the names and effective dates of employment. The system also wants to know if you'd like any technical assistance or training. This might look like recommendations on a national conference if you have funding to travel, but maybe you're not sure which event to choose. You may also request to be connected to training providers within the state, or just request targeted TA that the CJC can provide that's maybe specific to this new grant system. On the Other tab, use this page to verify any changes to lobbying activities. CJC has been asked to verify this on a quarterly basis. If you are unsure, view what was submitted previously and determine whether there's been no change by selecting No, or if you need to update your disclosure. If you and any grant-funded staff are continuing to provide the services outlined in your application and are not actively lobbying for legislative change, select No. The last step on this page is to validate and save. On the Contacts tab, use this page to update the CJC on any fiscal or program staff members that you're looking to add, edit, or remove access from by clicking the blue button that will appear once you select Yes. If you are adding someone, be sure to let them know about our technical assistance video series that may be of assistance to them in their role. Then, if everything is correct, click Submit. Regarding next steps, Be aware that monitors typically carry caseloads of between 20 and 50 or more subgrant programs. It all depends on the type of project and how much time and attention different agencies and programs require. Once you submit your report, your monitor receives and reviews it. We try and approve reports as soon as we can, but sometimes we need to send a report back for additional information or clarification. Although you won't receive a notification when your report is approved, you will receive an email notification if revisions are requested. The email looks something like this. Notice that the notification includes basic information about why the report is being returned for revisions. In this example, we see that the numbers reported in the PMT section don't seem to match up to the information provided in the narrative section, and that CJC needs additional info about surveys in the narrative section. The email directs you to log in to make the requested changes. Please get into the system as soon as you are able to and make the changes before the due date. Once you log in and check the button to access your program reports, you'll see the status will show as revision requested. Click to open. You'll see the same revision request comments show up on the main page of the program report. And as you scroll down, stop on the program report summary portion and select the affected areas to revise. Unlike the application level revisions, when a program report is returned, there are no annotations to point to specific areas that require updates. You'll need to follow the directions provided by your monitor in the top section of this page. All revision requests should be provided through the system. If you are having trouble keeping track of what items you need to revise, refer back to your ongoing Word document or Excel file or whatever other data collection source you use where you keep track of your PMT and goals and objectives for the quarter. Once revisions are made, resubmit your report. In the future, if you would like to view any of the submitted reports for your agency, navigate to the Grants Management System homepage and click on View All Reports. In this example, we see that the test user is a program or fiscal agent for 3 different subgrants. When these screenshots were taken in June of 2026, the test reports were considered overdue since the due dates of the reports are past. Once each of these reports are submitted, they move into the under review and then the complete paid sections after the monitor reviews and approves them. The last point of interest on this page is that it's important to note that just because a report is listed in the attention required section does not mean it's overdue. Inventory reports will appear in this section until they are submitted. They will appear in draft status at the start of the project. The Scheduled section includes a full list of all future reports required for each subgrant project. You do not need to take any action on future reports. Reports will remain scheduled until the system moves them to the Attention Required section, closer to the report due date. It's also important to note that the system will not allow you to submit a report for quarter number 2 until the report for quarter number 1 is submitted and approved. So if you have a backdated award and are catching up on reports, this may affect your program and reporting schedule. Reach out to your monitor if you are having difficulty. Reports remain under review until both fiscal and program reports for the same quarter are approved and processed. Once both reports for the quarter are completed, approved, and paid, they move to the complete/paid section. If you are experiencing trouble submitting a report, please contact your monitor. You can also use our general help email at cjc_grant_support@delaware.gov. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you will reach out to us if you have any questions.